On Larry King Now, funny man David Koechner. What's the one thing you learned during your days in Chicago that you still apply to your work?
Listen.
Listen.
So the most important thing in improvisation is to listen. Because if you're thinking, then you're not listening. And the only thing that matters in improvisation is to listen. Because all we have is the last thing that was said. I'm sitting on the couch with Steve Ferrell, and Ron Burgundy yells at Brick, which you would never do. He's the most innocent of them all. Will goes, "Shut up, Brick, just shut up." And it was so funny. My youngest daughter, I think, has a strong proclivity to comedy, and I'll tell her, she's 7 now, I'll tell her, I said, "You know you're gonna be a comic." And she says, "No, Dad, I'm not." I said, "Yes, you are. You don't have a choice, because she can do this."
Oh my God. Plus,
Koechner King has a nice ring to it.
Could be an act.
Well, it should be King Koechner. Oh, has a little arrogance to it. I like that.
Yeah. All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Today's guest is actor, comedian, writer, and producer David Koechner. David is known for hysterical roles in films like Anchorman, Anchorman 2, Talladega Nights, and Krampus. He's also been seen on the small screen in Twin Peaks, Comedy Central's Another Period, and The Goldbergs. And now the funny man is part of the hit sitcom Superior Donuts, a great show. He plays Tush Tushinsky. Superior Donuts airs Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS. This show was originally a play, right, by Tracy
Letts.
Tracy, who's not known for comedy.
Correct. I mean, this.
Tell me how this came. Tell me about it.
My understanding is this play, it originated in Chicago. I have a little bit of laryngitis, just so you know.
I like the sound.
You know? Okay, thank you. Originated in Chicago. They did it at Steppenwolf, and then they took it to Broadway and made a short run. I want to say mid-90s. Not a huge hit, a modest hit. I mean, just to make it to Broadway is a big deal. It was a drama with some comedic elements. The interesting thing about one of the reviews that I read, it said this would probably make a good sitcom, which in review for a play of that necessary stature may have not have been a compliment. I don't know. So anyway, Tracy Letts, most of our audience knows, like suddenly this is my show.
Go ahead.
You know him most often from, or most notably from August Osage County, which is a hit play, won tons of Tonys.
Great movie too.
Then a movie. Now, this year, this year, Tracy Letts can be seen in 2 Oscar-nominated films, The Post and Lady Bird.
Right.
Tracy Letts twice with 2 incredibly different looks, but...
does he have anything to do with your TV show?
Only that he created the source material. My understanding is he took 2 cracks at a TV pilot, but as we know, that's a whole different medium, a different kind of animal. And then it was finally, I think there may have been 2 more rounds of other people trying to make it work. And then finally, Bob Daly, Neil Goldberg, and Garrett Donovan did its latest incarnation, shot the pilot, and got it picked up.
How would you describe Tush?
Tush, he's a nut. I call Tush a survivor. He worked at a John Deere factory for 25 years and then was laid off and has since then been just taking temporary gigs. So he'll basically do anything.
And what does he do on Superior Donuts?
On Superior Donuts. He comes in, says nonsense, and sits at the donut shop stool. So basically, it's, I'd call it 2 things. Cheers in a donut shop, or Franco and the Man, Chico and the Man in a donut shop. Now, our audience will remember Chico and the Man, but basically that's a dynamic.
It's great writing.
I agreed.
How about working with Judd Hirsch?
The best. You're gonna learn something. If you're looking, you'll learn more. If you're just casually there, you're gonna learn it. I'm talking about as an actor. I saw him in Conversations with My Father. Did you see that one?
No, I've heard of it.
Absolutely blew me away. This is years ago. That might have been back in the late 90s. So always been a fan. Of course, we, seen him in all kinds of television incarnations over the years.
You've come from the Chicago School of Comedy.
Yeah.
Why is that special? That's where improv was invented.
Well, it's certainly where it came to its prominence. Why? I've heard that said before, but I believe it is because in Chicago, from my recollection, when you were there, if you proved it yourself, then you got stage time. You know, and you had to work a little bit harder or smarter. I don't know what it was, but there's all kinds of opportunities to be on stage in Chicago. There's black boxes, there's, you know, Second City, there's the I.O., now there's even more improv theaters. So it's that kind of thing of like, if you want to get up, you can get up. And I think that's what is so important, is that you put in your 10,000 hours on stage. And by and large, I've seen, you know, a lot of the Chicago comedy people have done that.
That's where you did theater?
Yeah, and maybe that makes a difference. You know, like when I was around, there's a guy named Del Close, who was our improv guru, and he touched a lot of lives. A lot of people that are super famous today that came out of Chicago had come through Del in some way or another.
You're naturally born to comedy, aren't you? Have you had serious roles?
I have a few. I thought you meant in general, like people.
No, you're funny.
Yeah.
You're funny.
I am. I'd say my youngest daughter, I've got 5, but my youngest daughter, I think, has a strong proclivity to comedy. And I'll tell her, she's 7 now, I'll tell her, I say, you know you're gonna be a comic. And she says, no, Dad, I'm not. I said, yes, you are. You don't have a choice, because she can do this.
Oh, my God.
And she can do it better than I can. I'll give it to you again. You ready?
That's pretty good.
Thank you. But Eve does it better than I. And once when she was 2, she did a pratfall. She was doing things that all my kids were in the living room. And she was wearing a diaper. She was 2. I say diaper for at the end of the story. And she's doing all kinds of funny things in the living room, making all the kids laugh. And then she ends it with a pratfall. She walks, does a huge high kick, and then falls down. It was hysterical. I mean, she couldn't have known what that was. Yeah.
I'm told you're going to be Grand Marshal in the Kansas City St. Patrick's Day Parade.
That is correct. Coming up this St. Patrick's Day.
Are you from Kansas City?
I'm from near there, from a small town called Tipton, Missouri. And my wife is from Kansas City. All my sisters now live in Kansas City.
Are you a Royal fan, a Chiefs fan?
Chiefs fan, big Chiefs fan, casual baseball fan.
Do you feel like a rock star when you go home? Do they love you in Kansas? Everything's up to date?
They're very
Kansas
kind.
City?
They're very kind.
David Koechner's Midwest roots have influenced his comedic style, and we look at some of his fan-favorite film roles, like that of Champ Kind in Anchorman. Stay with us on this edition of Larry King Now. We're back with David Koechner, one of the stars of Superior Donuts, a hysterical show Monday nights on CBS. When did you know you were funny? Were you funny in high school?
Yes. I'll tell you my first skit I ever did. 3rd grade, we were waiting, it's wintertime. We were waiting for the bell on a Friday, and we had about 2 minutes left. So we're all just, because, you know, you're not going to make the kids work up to it. And the teacher said, would anyone like to come up and do a skit? So I said, I will. And I brought Bob Bestian up to the front of the class, who was the easiest and loudest laugher in the class. And since it was wintertime, we had coats on. He had his coat on. I had a knit cap. So I took my knit cap off. I shoved it down his front of his jacket. And then I did kind of a pantomime where I was looking for my lost hat. And so Bob starts laughing, and the whole class starts laughing, and I keep looking harder and harder for this hat. And the laughs are going, and thank God the bell rings, because I've got no out for this.
There's no clothes.
So that was it. That was over. And I felt like, oh, because, you know, you don't think then, oh, I'm going to do this. You just feel good.
What was your big break?
Saturday Night Live. I was on the show 95, 96. It was Will Ferrell's first year, me, Daryl Hammond, Sherry O'Terry, who else? Other people. There were 13 of us.
Anchorman?
Yeah, well, in a way. I'd known Adam since 91, Adam McKay, who wrote and directed it, and I met Will in 95. I think that got shot in 2003, but I had to audition for the picture. They didn't have the power at that point just to say, you're in it, you're in it. But I think my understanding of their tone and what they were looking for probably helped me in getting the job.
Was there a lot of breakups making that movie?
Yeah. Yeah, probably every scene. Now, the thing about I have is that cowboy hat. So if I'm going to lose it, all I got to do is this, right? and you can't see me. The other guys are just going to bust. But you don't want to break because then there's somebody else's line you might blow. You don't want to do it.
That was so well cast.
Yeah.
What makes Will Ferrell special? You have a great friendship. We had you on together.
What makes him special, if we were able to just say it, we could all do it. He just is.
You know, the only time I've ever done this in my whole 61-year career, I did Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, in Talladega Night. When they were in Talladega Nights, the whole show was scripted by the guys who wrote Talladega Nights.
Oh!
I had a prompter.
Okay.
And they had their parts. They remembered their parts. I had every question was asked. They all were in character.
That's funny.
For an hour.
That's fantastic.
What makes Will Ferrell special?
It's just Will. He is special. Now, why do we respond the way we do to him? I think the best part of comedy is mystery and the unexpected, and Will always finds it. I would say Will does it in such a way that has a universal appeal, and it's inviting, and it doesn't in any way look to exclude people. It doesn't try to be hipper than everybody else in the room, but in my opinion, it'll touch the hippest person in the room and perhaps the densest person in the room at the same time, maybe for different reasons, but it'll all get them all together.
Why did Anchorman work?
Initially, it wasn't a hit.
Was not?
No, it did not make $100 million at the box office. It became a hit on cable and DVD. It wasn't an immediate hit. We were an late August movie, kind of a dumping ground at the time. The marketing for it was confusing. Many people that saw it didn't quite get it, but you know, it's a satire. And so people weren't expecting that. And
well, they say satire closes Saturday night.
Yes. Is that the old thing, right? But it seems like it's broad comedy, but it's got a really smart candy-coated center. That's what I would say.
Anchorman 2 did very well.
Yes, they both did. Now, I will say this. You talk about laughing. Now, there are several times in Anchorman 2, I had an even bigger hat. And thank God. Now, there's one time I remember specifically, because if you're on a wide shot, it's really hard to hide. You just dip that hat. Now I'm hiding it. There was once when I'm sitting on the couch with Steve Carell, and Ron Burgundy yells at Brick, which you would never do. He's the most innocent of them all. And Will goes, "Shut up, Brick, just shut up." And it was so funny that Ron would go after the one thing we all protect. Just kills me. Now, I know I can't laugh because I'm in this two-shot. And I swear to you, I had to think about a tough situation my kids had been in just so I'm not even going to lose it because I'm going to go. Shut up, Brick, just shut up. It's stunning. It is devastatingly funny, but it's also heartbreaking at the same time. There's so much wrapped up in that fastball. You're just like, oh my God, I'm just going to sit here and take one.
Why not Anchorman 3?
Oh, there's no reason to say no. Because Anchorman 2 didn't make $300 million at the box office. That's why. No, it made 180 worldwide. Here's the interesting thing. All four, and I say five of us, myself, Will, Steve, and Paul, and then Adam McKay, are always asked about Anchorman 3 every time we do any interview. The day we were out promoting Anchorman 2, the first question is, when's Anchorman 3? So McKay said this when he was out promoting, doing press for The Big Short. By the end of it, because it went on for a long time, because not only did he go through the season when you're doing normal press, then it went to Golden Globes, and then it went to the BAFTAs, and then finally the Academy Awards. So he's doing press, just an exhausting number. And they started asking when's Anchorman 3, and finally he said, in 9 more years. That's the span of time between the first and the second. So
there will be an Anchorman.
I would hope so. Who knows?
After the break, we'll get a little weird and wacky in a game of If You Only Knew with David Koechner. Stick with us on this edition of Larry King Now, and don't forget to watch him on Superior Donuts. Welcome back to the David Koechner Show. I'm Larry King. It's great to have him as a guest. You'll see him in Superior Donuts. Airs Mondays at 9 p.m. on CBS.
Koechner King has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Could be an act.
What should be King Koechner?
No,
Oh, has a little
Koechner.
arrogance to it. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
King Koechner.
King Koechner.
That gets people going, wait a minute.
Wait a
Okay.
minute. Okay. We play a little game of If You Only Knew. I just throw some questions at. Who was your celebrity crush as a child?
What's her? Linda Evans from Dynasty.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
Person who inspired to get you into comedy?
Monty Python.
Current comedian you can't get enough of?
Bill Burr.
Creepiest fan encounter?
I don't know if I've had it yet. I'm sure I
No one's ever
have.
come up to you and said something crazy?
I'm sure they have, but it wasn't so jarring that I remember them.
Time period you wish you could travel back to?
I was going to say something really weird.
What? Say it.
Here's what I was going to say. The night I was conceived, to see what was going on, and then be in the room going, hey, yeah. What's happening? I'm being conceived. Look at me.
Oh, boy.
That's weird enough, right?
You can't look at that if it's from
I don't know, can you? It's part of you. It's
I
the
know
reason.
It's part of you, but no one thinks of their parents having sex, right?
No. But then I would just go, hey, well done, kids. You got a good one on the way.
Where would we find you on a day off?
I have an office, so I'm there trying to make something else happen. I've got 5 kids, so I'm usually running
All
around
daughters?
doing 2 boys, 3 girls. So I don't know if I have a day off. Today was one, and I had some things to do. Then I got a call. Audrey forgot her science project at home. So all priorities are off and change. Go run, get the science project, take it to school.
Favorite Midwestern cuisine?
Well, if I didn't say barbecue, I would be in trouble. But
Well, what is your favorite?
it's steak.
Person from yesteryear you'd most like to share the screen with?
Wow. Abbott and Costello.
They were funny.
Yeah.
If you could pick one animal to speak to, what would it be?
An elephant.
Why?
Well, I think the elephants are
They're smart.
But from what I can cipher, they seem to be the most empathetic. There's a viral video you can see of an orphan elephant being brought into an elephant compound. What do you call it? Reserve or what's the better word for that? I'm thinking. They'll figure it out. But this new elephant comes in. They don't know it, and the entire group of elephants. Now I can't even think. I guess herd. It is a herd, right?
Herd, yeah.
Goes over to greet the new orphan, and it'll bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah, that's something.
Now, I don't know how much of a tough guy you are, and I know you're carrying a knife right now. But even that one might get your eyes going water.
Person you'd least like to be stranded with on a desert island?
Myself? I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay. Guilty pleasure?
Sleeping.
Best piece of advice you ever got?
Oh, well, I guess my dad, he said, well, Dave, I don't know what you do, but I don't know what you want to do, but I don't think you want to go to college. This is after I'd failed out after year 3.
What'd your dad do?
My dad was a manufacturer, a metal fabricator. He built livestock trailers at a manufacturing company, specifically for turkeys, turkey coops.
No kidding.
Yes. Now, had I started saying turkey coops, you immediately think there's a cage in the back of someone's yard. No, these are the large livestock trailers to take the birds from farm to processing.
You didn't want to get into that business?
I did it since I was 7 years old. That's when I went to work for my dad at 7.
Really?
Yeah. Worked there all my life. So by the time I was a senior, I was done.
Person from history you'd like to take to lunch?
Ooh. Well, you're immediately drawn to the idea of from history?
Anybody.
Okay. Jesus.
Jesus?
Yeah.
Where would you take him? Nate and Al's.
Nate Niles. We might go to Musso and Frank.
Musso and Frank?
Yeah. Just, I don't know if, he seems like more of a vegetarian guy.
You think?
He just seems like it. But I'd go there and maybe have a couple cocktails and then say, come on. Are you really him?
Come on.
Is that really your dad?
Come on.
Right? and I'd take out a big insurance policy on him.
If I met God, I would ask him if he had a son. After the break, David Koechner will answer your questions from social media. Superior Donuts airs Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS. We're back with David Koechner, who stars in Superior Donuts. Airs Monday nights, 9 Eastern on CBS. Social media questions. Mike T. Scribe on Twitter. What's the one thing you learned during your days in Chicago that you still apply to your work?
Listen.
Listen.
Yeah, I mean...
Elaborate.
I'm thinking he might be thinking about improvisation, which is where I started. And so the most important thing in improvisation is to listen. Because if you're thinking, then you're not listening. And the only thing that matters in improvisation is to listen. Because all we have is the last thing that was said. And if I'm not listening to what you just said, and I'm trying to write something else, the scene's over. But if I listen to what you said, then I have an opportunity to respond and move it forward.
The key to interviewing is listening.
Yeah.
Jimmy Mayer on the Larry King Now blog. What was your worst audition ever?
Okay, probably, let's see. For the Larry Sanders Show, they had
Good
one...
show.
Yes. They had one episode where they were casting doppelgangers or everybody else in the show. And so I was coming in to read for, I can't remember his name.
Gary Shandling? Or?
No, it wasn't for Gary. It was for, my name's gone. Anyway, I go, audition is a minute and a half. You know, I'm reading Hank. I'm auditioning for Hank. And in some, different show where people play them. And there's nothing. There's just nothing. And Gary just sits there. And he goes, wow, that was terrible. But he said, you kept going. Well, that was remarkable. You just kept going. Which I took as a compliment.
Lorraine Lorisi on Facebook. What has been your favorite role to date and why?
Well, I had to say Anchorman and Todd Packer just to get those out of the way because they...
Todd Packer?
From a show called The Office.
You were on The Office?
Yeah. Multiple times. It's all right. It's one of those roles that people just can't forget. It's true. There is a couple that I absolutely love beyond that. One is Cheap Thrills, which is a dark, twisted thriller with some comedic elements. It's been one of my favorites. If you look it up, it might be on Netflix, might not be, but don't watch it with kids. It's not a kid movie. It's dark and twisted with some funny stuff in it. That one, and the other one would be my role in Extract, Mike Judge movie, where I play an annoying neighbor. It was so much fun. I could have done it for 10 years.
Lorraine also asks, are you as funny when you're home with the family, or do you turn it off?
Well, there's no off switch. As funny, I would say more annoying. These days, if I can get just a wrinkle of a smile.
I know they're on their cell phone, right?
Yeah. But, if you're trying to interact with them, their overriding thought is, get the F away from me, right? So you want to stand there until you get some response.
Why do they do that?
Well, because they want to get back to their phone.
So their phone runs their life?
Yeah.
It's very hard for me. I have 2 teenagers, and it drives me nuts.
Agreed. Now, it is not something we can control. We want to. We want to say, give them a taste of their future. You need to put that down because you're going to need to talk to somebody someday. But here's what our surprise might be. Maybe they got their job on Snapchat. I mean, we don't know. This is where these things are going. My response to it is the same as yours. Put it the away. Look at me. Let's go do something. But for whatever reason now, this is part of their evolution. It's where they're going to go. I mean, I don't know where it's headed, but it's going to cause some great poets at some point.
Yeah. I have a flip phone. I don't bother with that. Not me. G.D. Simons on the Larry King Now blog. Would you ever want to star in a spy thriller where you would have to do lots of stunts? So like a Mission Impossible, serious role, action,
yes.
You and Tom Cruise.
But I have to do the stunts?
Yeah.
I'm not doing the stunts. That's where they hire these
Tom
guys.
Cruise in his new movie
Yeah.
hangs out of a plane. Did you see that?
I haven't.
He hangs out of a plane.
Why? He doesn't have to. They hire guys. Here's the thing. He's hanging out of a plane. Somewhere, there's a stunt guy who says, see, took away some work from me. You can't curse on this show, by the way.
Yes, you can. Dave, it's been an honor to have you back again. Last time you were with Will Ferrell, but now you're on your own.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very proud of all your work, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Pleasure to see
Great
you.
guest.
Thank you.
Big thanks to David Koechner. Be sure to tune into Superior Donuts, airing Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Kings Things. And I'll see you next time.